Welcome back to another video, guys. In today's video, we're actually going to be talking about the do's and the don'ts of sales. Now, I am going to be using a door-to-door a lot as a reference because that's the industry that I'm in, but this applies to anything related in the sales industry. So the first do that we're going to be going over is knowing your audience, right? Your target audience. Now, depending on the company that you work for and the service and product that you're selling, that's going to be what your target audience is going to be. For example, we focus on door to door. So it's very easy for us to target our audience, right? The products that we offer, they're home improvement products. So we know that our target audience is going to be homeowners, residential homeowners. There's different kinds of audiences. There can be business to business, business to consumer. So it just depends, right? But in the door-to-door industry, it's always going to be with homeowners, right? Most of the products that everybody offers, knocking doors, customer has to be a homeowner, right, on the title of the deed. But regardless, whatever company you're with and whatever product and service that you're offering, that's going to determine the target audience that you guys are going to have. So it's very, very important to know what kind of people you guys are going to be speaking to, pitching to, and most importantly, selling to, right? So just always make sure you guys keep that in mind. The next do is to build and have a strong pitch. The reason why you want to have a very strong pitch, you guys have to keep this in mind at all times. Whatever you guys are selling, wherever you guys are selling it, but in this case, for example, knocking doors. We have so many customers that tell us, so many people stop by almost every day, every other day. So you can imagine how many people show up to a customer's house. 90% of the people say the same thing. They sound like robots. They sound like, oh, you just sound like somebody that already came. A lot of customers will confuse you for, oh yeah, I already spoke to them. They told me this. They told me what you're saying. You have 10 to 15 seconds so a customer can hear you out and you hook them. That way they can stay there for the rest of the conversation, right? But within those 10 to 20 seconds, if you're not hooking your customer, you're always going to get not interested. It's not right now. Stop by another day. I'm on my way out. They're going to give you what's called a smoke screen, right? Just basically any excuse just to get you out of the door. This is going to take some practice. A lot of people, they don't like to put in the time and effort back at the house. They get a pitch that their employer gives them and they just stick to that. You know, they don't like to mess with it. They don't like to pitch to themselves in the mirror. They don't like to switch things around. They usually just try to use what everybody else is already using, right? Which can be good as a starting point, but you're going to be getting rejected a lot of times if you guys are using the same exact pitch. Just little things like that whenever you bring facts to a customer or just something that's going to catch their attention. You don't want to do the same pitch that everybody else is using. Whenever we use that pitch, a lot of people, they hear us out. We catch their attention right away or like, hey, what are you talking about? I haven't heard of that. That's an example of what I mean by making sure that you guys have a strong pitch or something that's going to make you sound different than everybody else that stopped at that same exact door or whomever you may be selling to. Moving on to my third and last do. You can lose a lot of sales by not doing this. So one of the things that a lot of people mess up on whenever it comes down to selling is listening. I've experienced it. I've done it myself where I'm talking to a customer and I'm just like talking. And I think I'm about to get the sale. But whenever I go back and I listen to myself, I end up losing a lot of sales, or I ended up losing a lot of sales. And I've seen a lot of employees that might lose a lot of sales because they're not paying attention to what the customer's telling them. They're not paying attention to the customer's problem and what they can do to fix that issue for the customer. Instead, they're just kind of like going on this like, yo, like I'm going to sell this customer. I'm going to keep talking and just throw everything all at once. You don't even realize while you're like just talking and going off, the customer's already thinking, man, this guy just wants to sell me. He just wants to make his money or he sounds desperate. Our job is whenever we go, we speak to or we're pitching to whoever we're trying to sell to is speak to your customer, make a friend, right? Build that relationship, get that trust with that customer and let them talk to you. As long as you're able to do those things, right? Make the customer feel comfortable. Let them know that, hey, I'm here to help you out. I'm not really here to sell you on anything. They're going to talk to you without you even like asking for it. They're going to tell you, yeah, well, whatever it is, right? They're going to tell you what the problem is and what you can do to help them fix that problem. Now we're going to be moving on to our don'ts, right? So these are 3 things that you guys do not want to do and that could potentially ruin your sale. First don't is going to be don't be too pushy. Obviously in the sales industry with whatever company you're with, you get trained to overcome no's. You get trained to, if you get told no once or twice, try to overcome that objection. I've always told my reps like, hey, always go for 3 no's, right? Your first no, it's kind of like, all right, whatever, just put it to the side, try to overcome it. You get a second no. After that second no, that's when you try your very best to overcome it. And after that, If you get a third no, you just got to get out of there. If you're too pushy, all they're going to think is that you're just a salesman, you're just trying to make your money. So a lot of the times you're going to not trust in you and they're going to think that you're just trying to sell them to make a quick buck. And third, you're going to sound very desperate to a lot of customers. You got to be a little bit more patient. Like I said earlier, you got to learn how to pay attention to your customers, see what their problem is and what you guys can do to solve that problem. But when you're being very pushy, most of the time you're not really going to end up getting that sale. So it's kind of very important for you guys to just relax a little bit, speak to your customer, and just don't be pushy. You guys need to know when to get out of that house, when to just say, you know what, it's not going to happen, on to the next door or on to the next customer. Not every customer that you go pitch to, that you go present to, they're not going to want your services right then and there. There's customers who want to take the time to do their research, for you to follow up with them. And a lot of people lose that clientele because they're expected to get that sale right then and there. So because you're being too pushy, at the end of the day, the customer is going to be like, hey, you know what, man, just forget about it. But then the next person that comes on board and is trying to solve a problem for your client, and they say, hey, you know what, follow up with me in 2 weeks, and you're calm about it, and you go back in 2 weeks, maybe they might be ready to sign up right then and there, or maybe they might tell you to come back in 2 more weeks. So that's already a month, right? But if you're patient and you're following up with your customers the way that you guys are supposed to be following up, that's going to be a sale that was supposed to happen 4 weeks ago, but without you expecting it, boom, it just happened out of nowhere, and you just got an extra sale, right? The sales are going to come because they're going to come, right? But that's just another tip right there. Just be patient, don't be pushy. So the next one is, don't try to upsell. So I know a lot of people, I know a lot of business owners who have multiple services, including ourselves. And one of the things that I've seen people do wrong is upselling. So whenever you upsell a customer, is you're offering them one service, and then right then and there, you're already trying to offer 1, 2, 3 more services. The reason why you guys do not want to do that is because, again, it all kind of comes back to the same thing, right? You don't want to sound desperate. You don't want to sound like you're just trying to make a quick buck to your customer. Instead, what I recommend is, if you're going to go for this service, offer it to your customer. If you sign them up, hey, you already built that relationship with that customer. They bought from you for a reason, right? In a couple weeks, maybe a month, 2 months, follow back up with your customer. That's another thing that a lot of people lack on. Once you make that sale, nobody does follow-ups. They just care about making that sale, making that money. That's it, right? But when you follow up with your customers and you build that relationship, that's when you can come back and be like, hey, you know what? You're happy with the services. I treated you well. You treated me well. We did very good business. Now I can upsell this customer. Now I can tell them, hey, you know what, Miss Customer, I offered you this. It's going really well for you. You're happy with my services. What if I can help you out with this? So that's the perfect time to upsell. You don't want to upsell everything up front, or if they tell you no with one product, try to offer the other product, because it's not going to do you any good at all. Again, be patient and know when to upsell that next service to you guys as customer. Lastly, and the final don't, is don't rush the process. Anything that's contract related, you have to be very, very careful with who you guys are selling to. And the reason why I can't stress enough about not rushing the process is because I've seen a lot of people, including myself, we rush the process, we half-ass our sale because we think, hey, but as long as they sign the contract, boom, I make my quick buck and I made some money, right? But what a lot of people don't understand, or a lot of people do understand but just don't care about it, in the sales industries, there's what's called chargebacks and cancels. So for example, with solar panels or water systems or security cameras, you have a certain time frame that a customer can cancel. And if you already got paid out for that one sale, if that customer cancels, you're going to charge you back that money that they already paid you. For example, if I signed up a customer last week and I got it paid out this week, and let's just say it was $3,000. To me in the moment, it's like, hey, I just made 3 grand for one sale. Boom, I'm balling, I'm good, I'm chilling, right? But then if that customer cancels because I rushed the process, I sounded like a salesman, I didn't build a relationship with the customer, or he didn't really trust me, and another company stops by and treats him way different than I did and gets him to cancel with me to go with them, those 3 grand that they had already paid me out, all they're going to do is just take it out of my next check. Don't rush it. Be patient. Just make sure that when you guys are with your customers, don't half-ass it. I've been through it myself, where I'm just like, yo, come on, like, just sign the contract, everything good, boom, and I did. And they end up canceling, because I half-assed it. I went about it the wrong way. And it's not good for you. You're just gonna end up losing money on next checks. So it's just very, very important that you guys are just relax about the whole situation. Don't rush anything. If you guys see that you guys should just follow up or come back next week or give the customer some time to think about making a decision on whether or not they want to move forward with their product, so be it, right? There's plenty of fish out in the sea. There's plenty of doors. There's plenty of people, plenty of businesses for you guys to sell. Down below in the description, I'm gonna actually be go ahead and linking my socials. That way you guys can see I have a perfect example of a video there. It's called turning a no into a yes. It's a perfect example of what I just went over right now. You guys are actually able to see a customer tell me no. That was a referral from one of my old customers, and he kind of just blew me off. Told me no about 2 to 3 times, and I kind of just sat down with him in the chair. I was hearing him out, why he didn't want my services. He ended up telling me to go back 15 minutes, went inside his home, presented to him. One of the things that he told me that stuck with me was the way that you're explaining it is completely different than everybody else has been. And I ended up turning that no into a sell, got installed, got paid out. Customer was happy. I was happy. I did my job right. And I got it on film. Like I said, I'm going to be putting everything down below. Make sure you guys go watch that video as well as my other videos that I've been uploading. Like I said, just make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, comment down below any ideas you guys would like for me to make a video about. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.